Hey Reflections! So I recorded a video Thursday, and then on the weekend, Friday and Saturday, I had some major experiences. And then I recorded a video after my experiences on Monday, and then I had more experiences. So I just decided just to lump it all in one video. So interesting things have been happening. I have been having both psychedelic experiences and the same experiences except without the help of psychedelics. So a lot of weird things have been happening. The first thing I realized is that ever since the first time I started taking DMT, I've been having headaches, like a lot of headaches. And it's really interesting because I was never one to actually ever have headaches. The last DMT experience after I felt my third eye grow physically, I had a migraine for about a week. Very sensitive to light. I couldn't really get out of bed, and it was right in the center of my brain, like right in the center, and it was really, really hard to deal with, but I got through with it. I didn't think anything about it. And then the other day, after my really intense experience, I had the same thing happen, except it was, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but the technical term or the medical term for it is called vestibular migraines. But what happens is you have like a zap, or like it feels like a shock of electricity that goes right in the center of your brain up. And once it goes up, you feel like really dizzy and like you're about to faint. So that's been happening, and I've been looking up how to deal with it, how to relieve it, and I found this really cool doctor online. She has a lot of really great work in how to work with your chakras, how to open them, and all that stuff. So I'm gonna link her stuff down below for you guys if you guys are having the same thing happen to you, because you know it's quite terrifying when you feel like you're gonna pass out all the time. Thankfully, I have a really easy time. I don't have to do a lot of stuff, so I can imagine if you have a very full schedule and you're doing something like this, it might terrify you. So that's been happening, which is kind of weird, but I'm going with it. I'm not really having a negative outlook on it. It's just growing, and I'm growing, so I'm pretty excited and happy about that. Another thing that happened, okay, so my first psychedelic trip on Friday, it was a lot of closed-eyed visuals. I did take a lot of mushrooms. I've been experimenting a lot with mushrooms. If you guys are planning on cultivating your own mushrooms, what I would do is I would add ormus to it, because I've heard from everybody that has tried the ormus mushrooms that it is unlike any other mushrooms that they've ever experienced, and it was really just like an overall good experience, and I've heard this from tons of people. So, and also me myself, I can attest to just the difference. I've had the same strain a few times, multiple times, and never without ormus. And this time around, when I tried the same strain, it was just amazing. So if you want to use ormus in your mushrooms, what I would do is, if you're using the spore cakes, I would put it in a bag of water for 23 hours like they say to, but with a drop of ormus. And also, if you want to use it for a bulk grow, what I would do is I would put it in the water bottle that you're going to be spritzing, and I would put some ormus in there and just spritz that. So yeah, I really suggest everybody try it. It's just, wow, it was really intense. So the first time around, nothing really crazy happened. I was hippie flipping the whole entire weekend, so that was really cool. It was just very loving, and I was just in a really good mood. A lot of closed-eyed visuals. Again, nothing really intense happened, but on Saturday... Oh no, I'm sorry. On Friday, what had happened was I had a experience, but it was after the mushrooms had worn off, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I just fell asleep while I was still on mushrooms, but it felt more of a experience that I would have in a lucid state. So basically what had happened was I was literally so open and so loving, and I had this thought where, like, if I died right now, it would just, like, I was just so full of love, and I was so full of just bliss that when I started falling asleep, it felt like there was, again, like a thought stream of information coming down to me. It was very feminine, first off, which was very interesting. And the only thing that I could pick up on it and remember today was because, again, I was in like a half lucid, half conscious state, was it was information on astrology and on the moon, which is really interesting. And again, it felt very feminine. So it started off with that, and after that happened, I saw shapes. And it's really funny because I watched the DMT, the spirit molecule, before, and I was always very interested in what that one guy said when he talked about the hobby horses. And I think I know what he's talking about because I see the same thing. But to me, it doesn't look like a hobby horse. It kind of looks like a cello, or like an S, or like, it's just like this thing, like this weird geometric moving fractal, which is really interesting, and there's a lot of them. It's not just one. So it started off with geometry, and it was very it was like a light show, so there was a lot of light coming through it. So it was like circles and that like weird cello looking thing, and squares and dots and triangles, and then it just morphed into a fractal. And then once it morphed into a fractal, it went into singularity. So I saw the singularity point, and then there was another point around it, kind of looked like my DMT trip that I went to, except it was less vivid, but again, I could still see it, and I went into the singularity. And once I went into the singularity, again, it felt very much like a DMT trip. It felt like the ego death that you have, and it was really terrifying. I reacted. I woke up as I was going into a singularity, which damn it, I wish I wouldn't react to this stuff. It's like, it's whether it's a happy feeling or whether it's a sad feeling or whatever, and just reacting. And it's really annoying because I don't know, man. It just, it kind of, it annoys me because you need to have control over your feelings in order to do these things, because as soon as you have any feeling, it completely just disappears. So had the ego death Friday. Saturday, I had the exact opposite experience, but I took twice the amount of mushrooms. I don't know how many mushrooms I took, but let's just say I had about 60 grams, and now I have like 10. So, and that was only in a month and a half. So you do the math. I've been researching quite a lot. It's a lot of fun. So I'd say anywhere between 1.5 grams and maybe 3 grams. I've been researching pretty much on a weekly basis. So this time around on Saturday, I took a little bit more, only because, and another thing, trip with friends, because when you trip with somebody that you trust, that you're a friend with, or a lover or something, it's just so beautiful, and it's a lot easier than tripping by yourself, I feel. So yeah. The reason why it was a more intense experience is because my friend and I, we took shrooms, and then we forgot, and then we took shrooms again. So this experience on Saturday was very interesting because it was the exact opposite of the ego death that I had on Friday. It started off with the alien archetypal figure that you see, the one that I see in my dreams, the one I see in every single DMT trip, and it was just moving. It was all moving, and it was open eye visual, so it wasn't inside of me, it was outside of me that I saw it, and it was just like all moving. But this time around, I wasn't afraid of it. It didn't feel alienated from me. I didn't feel fear, nothing at all. This could be because of the MDMA that I had. I don't know, but then again, yesterday I did too, and I kind of freaked out, so I don't know. But this time around, it was very different. I was very open to the contact or the experience that I was having, and it almost felt like, again, a part of me. And then it escalated, so I had to go lay down, and then I had the experience of the Godhead, the Brahman, the Oversoul, which is, I'm guessing what this thing was. And it was the best experience. Well, I can't say the best experience because I've had a lot of awesome psychedelic experiences, but it was so, God, it was so blissful. It was almost just like experiencing yourself as everything, experiencing yourself as God, experiencing yourself as just infinite intelligence. And it was almost like a cosmic celebration for you and the divine within myself, which was really amazing. And it was just like this great hall, and it was just these fractal patterns all over the place, and it was just this celebration for the God within me, the divine within me. And it was very different from the ego death that I had, kind of ego boosting, which is really interesting. I think I needed that after the night before, because that kind of, had a very different effect. And I don't know, I've never really felt that. It was very encouraging, and it was it was something that I think I really needed. And I didn't know you could have an experience like that on mushrooms. It was very subversive. It was very loving. It was very intelligent. And it was very different because my first DMT experience with my Kundalini experience, I had the Kundalini awakening with the presence, the God presence, or whatever you want to call it. I know a lot of people like to call it different things, or the source, or whatever, but it was external from me. And this time, it was me. It was me. I was everything. It was almost like worshiping myself, or the universe worshiping me, which is very odd. And it felt very comforting, it felt very loving. And it actually makes me really excited to trip again, to tell you the truth. So I'm probably going to be doing acid this time around. So yeah, that's what's been happening in my life. There's a lot of changes going on, and a lot of things that, I have to get used to. Being more accepting towards other people's opinions and beliefs. And yeah, so that's what I've been going through the past week and a half. It's been a lot, it's been a lot of growth in a very small amount of time. And when that happens, you kind of just I like to take a step back. And, for me, it's so hard being social, and I'm so thankful and grateful that I have so many friends that are so willing to be like, get up, let's do something, let's go out. You have to be social, because I'm an intuitive empath, and I pick up on everything. And the other day I went out, and when I came home, I was having these shock waves going through and up my head, and feeling very just lightheaded, and just, it makes me not want to go out. But I'm still gonna try. I'm still gonna try my best. And yeah, so that's what I've been doing. And also a lot of purging. I've had illness after illness after illness come up, and it's good, because with every single thing that I break through, it's just a lot of encouragement, a lot of trust in myself, and just a new perspective on things. Anyway, Reflections, I hope you're having an awesome, awesome, awesome day. Bye, Reflections.